Good.
All right. So, I wanted to talk about a technique that I've learned and developed and been using, and I like to call it data-driven testing. And it's just that testing typically contains a lot of repetitive code, the same stuff over and over again, and generally the variations are fairly small. Even if you do need to call a different method or different function, the variations are just generally small. And so you can encapsulate all that and just turn your test into data. I like to call it data-driven testing because the acronym is DDT, and it's a good way to kill bugs dead. But anyway, I'm going to get into actually just showing some code here to try and show exactly what this looks like. So this is the most basic script for what I'm currently building, and it is essentially it drives a web crawler, it drives Mechanics. I don't really need Selenium yet, but you can pretty much, I think, figure out what the test does and what it is, and what its options are. And this is just a single test. It loads the home page by calling the get method on that URL, and it expects to find a view cart somewhere in the text of the page. I showed some of the options, even though I'm not using them. You could skip or die on fail, but there's other stuff you can do. You can add subroutine references for pre-tests and post-tests. Just run it, and and you get your test. This is a much more complicated example, though it's still pretty simple. And, this defines sort of the workflow. So the agent actually, is repeatedly invoked by each step. So first you get the first page, then you follow the login link, then you submit a form, and I'm showing off a little post-test code here too. So you set your OK variable if the post-test, so I don't need the expected part in that one. And of course, again, it's just passed into the run tests function, and there's a whole lot of code there to make things work all pretty. This isn't the only place that it's used. There are other people using this sort of thing. I understand that. I saw the test AHN thing, and they have a more pretty method and probably more sophisticated. I do a bit of work with Uri, and it turns out he uses the same sort of thing, and he's actually helped me develop my technique as well. And this is kind of cool because this is from the sort maker module, and you run this with a command line option, and it's benchmarked as well as unit tests. In fact, so here's that unit test. I mean, there's 8 unit tests in there because he's doing 4 times 2 in that case. And anyway, that's all well and good. That means you've refactored a lot of redundancy out. Your tests are pretty much declarative, and if I want to upgrade my stuff to use Selenium in the future, I think it'll be relatively easy to do so. And I probably will end up needing that. So, let's go back to, yes, so this is a technique that anybody can use, and I think it'll be helpful, but wait, there's more. I got sick of writing all those test hashes. It's boring, it's just more cut and paste code in a way. And, whenever I find repetition, I try to automate it out. So I found a way to automatically generate my web tests. And to do that, I basically took a real hacked up version of HTTP Recorder and built a proxy out of it. And so I just run the proxy like this. It's going to generate a new test. So it's listening on port 4321, and why don't I go and browse to my client's website. Oh, by the way, I thought this was appropriate since I'm about to do a live demo using the internet. Let's turn the proxy on, and because my screen resized, my bookmark disappeared. Bastards.
Awesome.
Did you show up on that list? Yeah. So this is my client, so maybe a little plug here. Pulled up the page, proxy should have recorded that fact. Let's log in using my dummy account, and okay, we got a little thing, we'll log out. All right, beautiful. Let's disconnect from the proxy. I got 14 seconds. Let's kill the proxy. It says, please edit new test T. Let's see what's in new test T. Look what that looks like. It looks just like the other file. And if I run that, that is the test
No, that's the old test.
Well, that's the old test, but all I had to do was add the validation checks, like you saw in there. So